As we get closer and closer to the 2023 NFL Draft, mock drafts are becoming everyone's favorite pastime, and there are different storylines coming out about each and every player. Right now, there's a lot of debate amongst who's going to go in the top 10 and which quarterbacks can be taken first. The big four of Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud has received non-stop talk over these last few months, and it is definitely going to be a very exciting draft. One of the few guarantees around this time of year is that there's always some sort of controversial headline surrounding one of the draft's top prospects. The most recent example of that is there's been a rumor circulating around the internet that CJ Stroud flaked on the Manning family and ghosted a training session with them in favor of hanging out with his teammates. Right now, everyone's giving Stroud a ton of flack for that, and at this point, we have no idea if it's a baseless rumor, a misunderstanding, or just a flat-out lie. In today's video, I want to talk about this situation, give my thoughts and opinions on the matter, and why I think it's annoying that everyone is trying to ruin CJ Stroud. But before we get started, be sure to quickly subscribe if you love college football and football content, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload. Now let's get started and talk about CJ Stroud. Let's first get some background info on Stroud. As coming out of California, he was just a 3-star recruit for quite a while, but after absolutely blowing up at the Elite 11 and actually winning MVP of the event, he got a ton of offers and eventually decided to go across the country to Ohio State. He was part of their 2020 class alongside Jack Miller, but ultimately Stroud ended up winning that backup job, running for 1 touchdown as the backup to Justin Fields during the 2020 season. Going into 2021, he battled out with McCord and Miller, but he pretty easily won the job and burst onto the scene last season with insane stats. Unfortunately, Ohio State would not get a chance to go to the playoff because they lost to Michigan, but Stroud somewhat got revenge in 2022. He ended up throwing for 3,688 yards with 41 touchdowns. His 41 touchdowns ranked second in the country, and his QBR of 88.9 was also second best in the country. Another thing to keep in mind is that his numbers probably would have been even better had he played more, because in most games, by the time the third or fourth quarter rolled around, he was already sitting on the bench. Unfortunately, Stroud had now lost back-to-back times to Michigan, and they'd miss out on the Big Ten championship. Luckily for them, they still got to go to the college football playoff, where they matched up with Georgia in a historically awesome game. Stroud balled out with 348 yards and 4 touchdowns, but ultimately Stetson Bennett got the last laugh, and Georgia won the title, and Ohio State went home early. Stroud declared for the 2023 NFL Draft, where it's now gone back and forth between him and Bryce Young for as to who should be the first pick. Some think that Stroud is lazy, some think that he'll be a bust, and some think he's by far the best quarterback in this class. Personally, if I was a GM, he would be the first quarterback I would take, but I don't think Bryce Young is a bad option either, and I think both of them will end up being pretty dang good. As we've gone throughout the draft process, pretty much everyone has linked him to the Houston Texans, but yesterday, Brady Quinn came out and made an interesting point. He said, quote, about the Manning Passing Academy. I've been told that he committed to the Manning Passing Academy the night before and just sort of ghosted them and didn't show up. He said this on his Pick 6 podcast. That's football royalty, and when you do that, that's going to set off some alarms for people. Like, hey man, that's not how you conduct yourself, especially around the Manning family or just in general, if you're going to be a franchise quarterback. He ended up saying that, and that has caused a stir on social media, and a couple people have gone after Quinn for this statement. Former Super Bowl winning safety and ESPN host Ryan Clark ended up quickly dismissing the rumor, saying that Stroud instead chose to practice with his college teammates. He had never committed to the Manning camp, and he chose to work with his teammates at Ohio State before his final season. He also wasn't paid to go, and furthermore, he asked, what does the Manning family have to do with leading an organization? Overall, I think it's a little bit ridiculous, as people are just trying to get clicks and trying to get attention, and this is not the first time we've seen them. The best example, though, came about 2 years ago to the day. Right before the 2021 NFL Draft, there was a thing that leaked that said that Justin Fields' epilepsy was going to ruin his NFL career. What's interesting is they tried to pull this out right before the draft, as he had been diagnosed with epilepsy since 9th grade and had taken medication to manage it. He had never missed a game at Ohio State, but all of a sudden, just a couple of days before the draft, it was a ginormous issue. Honestly, some of the rumors and stuff get kind of annoying, and I know I am making a video on it, so I'm probably not helping the issue, but overall, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. There is another critique of Stroud, as apparently he scored a low score on the S2 test. This was according to NFL executive Michael Lombardi, and he claimed he was not confident that Stroud would go second overall anymore, citing coaching issues. He said, quote, CJ Stroud's an interesting guy. When you talk to people in the league, they'll tell you that CJ Stroud is not an easy guy to coach. That is not a knock, this is just a conversation. I think the word that people use is he's not very believing in what you're saying, and so he's a little bit challenging to coach. So it's not like he comes in and embraces it, he's just got a little bit of a different style to him. So overall, the hate mail is starting to come out on Stroud, and once again, I'm not really quite sure what the whole Manning stuff and the S2 test really has to do with his long-term potential, as he is balled out on the field, has tremendous physical measurements, and in my mind has the mindset to be a franchise quarterback. People get too caught up in the nitty-gritty, and I wouldn't even doubt that the whole Manning thing is just extremely fabricated or not even true to begin with. That is something I don't know the answer to, but either way, I think it's right now kind of annoying that people are trying to put Stroud through the mud and trying to ruin his reputation before the draft. Some would say it might be a deep conspiracy to get him to fall on draft night, but I would just say it's people trying to chase clicks, and again, I'm not doing much better myself making this video, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it all and bring you guys up to speed with what has been going on. I like to cover these current event videos, and I'm excited to see what Stroud is going to do and where he's going to be taken next week. But what do you guys think? What do you think of this whole CJ Stroud situation? Do you think he'll end up panning out? And what's another topic I can cover next? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.